We're going to move on to our next story about Elon Musk. Now, we've been speaking a lot on this show about censorship. We've talked about the Twitter files extensively when all that was rolling out. And it appears that apparently the EU is trying to push Elon Musk to censor people on Twitter, particularly in reference to the conflict between Israel and Palestine. Now, you guys know the Twitter files is something that was really pushed by Elon Musk. He revealed a lot of information, or those journalists like Matt Taibbi, revealed a lot of information about how the government was working together with Twitter executives to censor certain stories and certain accounts, etc. And so Elon Musk was very vocal about the fact that he wanted free speech platform. He thought it was good. Although I told you he's been censoring people too. I told you guys this. I said a perfect example is Garland Nixon. Garland Nixon has been locked out of his Twitter account, although his page is still there. Apparently he can't get into it. It's wild and crazy. So Elon has still been censoring people too, and he's been elevating certain voices and suppressing others. That is still continuing on Twitter. But now there is this push from the European Union. They are warning Elon Musk that you need to get a handle on your platform in reference to disinformation about this conflict between Israel and Palestine. Let's get into this video clip first, and then I have an article I want to show you as well.
We're into the fourth day of the war between Israel and Hamas after the militant group launched a surprise attack into southern Israel. More than 1,500 people have died, with many more injured. Graphic footage has spread on the internet, and as ever, the threat of disinformation looms large. One platform that isn't a stranger to criticism on that front, X, formerly known as Twitter, and this conflict doesn't appear to be any different. Even CEO Elon Musk posting questionable news sources, then deleting, adding to the debate over spurious content. More on this and what's on his radar. We've got Yahoo Finance's own Rick Newman. Hey, Rick.
Hey, Brad. Twitter, I still call it Twitter. A lot of people still call it Twitter. I mean, it was always a challenge to figure out what was true and what was not true on Twitter. And before Elon Musk bought it, Twitter actually did try to help you out there by figuring out what were bogus accounts, bot accounts, and false claims, and at least making an effort to do some fact checking. Elon Musk, when he bought the platform last year, eliminated all that. And even worse than that, anybody can get the blue check mark for $8 a month.
So I just want to jump in here really quick and say, I'm sorry, but that's not true. So I just told you they've still been censoring people on Twitter. People have still been suppressed. I know people that have been suspended from there as well. Those things still are happening, whether Elon owns the company or Jack owns the company. So that is still continuing. That is incorrect what he just told you there. The other part here where he mentioned that Twitter was really good about keeping those bot accounts like in check and stuff like that. Well, what we found from the Twitter files is that they actually were over censoring people. It got to the point where Twitter was flagging accounts that were not Russian, that were not misinformation. They were false claims that were coming from the government. So I would argue that under Jack, it was to the point where it was ridiculous, where they were flagging people that was wrong. And if we want to talk about the misinformation, let's also remember that post, that article from the New York Times, which was shared on Twitter about the Hunter Biden laptop story. And they were told to remove that article from the New York Times and to pull it. But that information was correct. So I don't think he's already not telling the truth. Sorry.
And you don't have to prove who you are. You don't have to prove you're a real person. You're who you say you are. And we're now seeing a real-time experiment or some results of.
So that's actually not true either. Hold on, let me go back. Here we go.
You don't have to prove who you are. You don't have to prove you're a real person. You're who you.
Sorry. He's talking about the verification. So I'm a verified account, so I can tell you.
At least making an effort to do some fact checking. Elon Musk, when he bought the platform last year, eliminated all that. And even worse than that, anybody can get the blue check mark for $8 a month. And you don't have to prove who you are. You don't have to prove you're a real person. You're who you say you are. And
that's false. So as someone who does have the verification check mark, I did have to prove who I was. I do remember this. Oh my God. So I don't know if maybe he's changed it recently, but I signed up for it the moment that they took my blue check away, because I had the blue check originally. I was already subscribed to Twitter Blue, paying $4. I think it was $4.99, and that was to upload longer videos. That's the only reason why I had it then. That's the only reason why I have it now. And I did have to send information to verify that I was who I said I was. Now, I don't know if something changed. What's that, Wealthy Auntie? Where you at, Wealthy? It's been changed. Okay, well, maybe he changed it, but it wasn't that way when I had to sign up for it. So, but this thing right here, what it says is changes to X. No more headlines to links, just photos. Laid off much of the disinformation team. Must be a premium subscriber account to get the blue verification check mark. So let's continue here.
And we're now seeing a real-time experiment or some results of what all that has done. I mean, people who follow this, people who do open source intelligence, so-called OSINT, and try to track what's going on, they say it's just become harder than ever to figure out what's true and what's not. I mean, another part of the problem is if you pay that $8 per month, your tweets actually get promoted above other tweets by people who do not pay the $8. So propagandists and people who just want to fling trash and garbage into the social media sphere are just taking advantage of the fact that they can pay Elon a few bucks a month, and their tweets, dishonest or disinformation tweets, kind of go to the top of the queue, if you will. So this was always a problem, and I think the bottom line now is if you see something on Twitter, you should probably assume it's false rather than it's true, unless you...
Did you guys hear what he just said? You see what's happening, right? He said, if you see something on Twitter, you should assume that it's false. I want to remind you that major news outlets also have Twitter accounts. So just something to keep in mind. But why was the verification check put in place in the first place? Well, Elon said that, number one, Twitter was losing money, not gaining money. So it sounded like to me Twitter was in the hole when he took over Twitter in the first place. And then two, the other reason was he said he did that in an effort to rid out the bot accounts. Now, I didn't agree with it. I don't think you should make people pay for it in order to have their voice elevated. And I would argue too about the elevation. I would say it depends on what the voice is, because I've noticed, and we've talked about this with other people that have the blue, that pay for the verification, got the blue check mark. I've noticed left accounts on Twitter are still heavily suppressed, whether they have the blue check mark or not. There are people that tweet on Twitter that they tell me, like, did you see my tweet? I never see these people. They never pop up on my news feed. And these are people I follow. Like, I see people in my news feed that I don't follow more than I see people that I do follow. Make that make sense. So the suppression is still happening. I want to be clear to people about that. But you see what he's saying? If you see something on Twitter, he's telling you that it's probably false.
Know the person that it is coming from.
And Rick, this is very concerning, obviously, on many levels, but also just bringing it back here to the U.S. ahead of the election that is just over a year away. Just in terms of what this signals just about the misinformation and the lack of, I guess, the ability to police the information on their site, and the trouble that could then cause us Americans here in the future as well.
Now, what did she just do? She did exactly what I thought that she was going to do. She tied it back to the 2024 election. And that's what this really comes down to, folks. It's not just because of the war in Ukraine. It's not just because of the conflict between Israel and Palestine right now. It is also because, and primarily, I would say, because of the 2024 election. And so they are already becoming afraid because they said, oh no, someone may see something on Twitter and that may cause issues with the 2024 election. Get ready for it, folks. It's already coming. Get ready for it. Now, I don't know if they can actually make Elon Musk do this. I mean, it is his company. I really don't know. But I will say, I have noticed in reference to censorship, they've already been censoring people on YouTube in reference to the war between Israel and Palestine. So you guys won't see me show like the images, which I've been pretty good about that. You won't see me show like the images or the videos of what's happening over there because people have already been hit. I know JB, who's in the chat, he got hit this morning. And from what I'm hearing, other people are getting hit as well. So it seems like to me that it's not just the push on Twitter. It's happening towards YouTube, and it's probably going to happen towards other platforms as well if you have the narrative that the State Department does not have. Now, my question is, what does that mean for mainstream media? Because I was actually very surprised to see networks like CNN showing both sides for once. They actually talked to someone who was on the Palestinian side, someone who was on the Israeli side. And I was actually very surprised to see them give both sides of the story. That was weird to me. So what is that going to mean for them? We got to pay attention, folks. It's already coming.
It could cause plenty of trouble. And to all of that, you can add artificial intelligence and deep fakes, which make it easier to create videos that look really legitimate and really accurate, but actually are fake. So I think we are going to see I mean, it's obviously just going to be worse than it ever has been before. And a lot of this is not accidental. I mean, we know now that we know Russia's involvement in the U.S. election in 2016, we know Russia deliberately tried to plant that kind of information. And we weren't paying attention as much then as we are now. But
so Russiagate was debunked. And do you see what I'm trying to tell you guys? This is what it's really all about, what it's coming down to. They're going to try to say, watch this. So if I was Elon Musk, I'd get ready, because come 2024, they're going to be trying to push him to go after people that are saying things probably more so against Joe Biden in a way that they don't like or that they feel could hurt Joe Biden, chances of reelection. So get ready for that. And when they talk about the disinformation, who actually decides if it's disinformation or not? Is it going to be really Elon Musk? Because what we learned from the Twitter files, it was actually the government that was deciding what they felt was disinformation or not, and then telling the Twitter executives to pull it. So here's my advice to everyone. Get ready for 2024. If I were you, if you have an account, get a backup account. If you're on one platform, join other platforms, join multiple platforms, but get ready because they're just getting started. And come 2024, it's going to get worse.
Russia and other people who want to disrupt, order and decency in places like the United States, they're going to be using this platform. And Elon Musk, frankly, he seems to relish it. So I think there is an opportunity here for better products that can compete with Twitter. And you've got two that are trying, Threads by Facebook, and then the new one by Jack Dorsey, who was one of the original Twitter founders, called Blue Sky.
See what he's doing right now? He is telling you the platforms that they approve of. So let me tell you something about Threads by Mark Zuckerberg. From what I read when Threads first started, they don't allow political information. So he's promoting that. You guys can join Threads instead. Why? They don't allow political information. I have not joined Blue Sky. I really don't want to join another Twitter style platform, but if I have to, then I'll do what I need to do. But the thing is they are telling you what they want you to actually pay attention to. They are telling you what platforms they want you to use. See, if all they got to do is continue to badmouth Twitter as much as they want to, and then get that into your heads, as long as they repeat it, repetition sticks with people, then you may start to think Twitter's bad too. And then they're already telling you which platforms are better for you to use. This is how they start with mind control. This is what I was trying to tell people. This is what they do.
But those just have not caught on yet, really. And even Blue Sky, the rollout is still underway. And I think the open question is, they probably could do a better job than Twitter is doing, but Twitter has first mover advantage still. It just has the mass of people there. And it does seem to be an open question whether a competitor could come along and to attract enough people that you get all the eyeballs on a different platform rather than on Twitter. I hope somebody at least tries in 2024.
You hear that? Notice he's not saying somebody try right now. He's saying try in 2024. 2024 is election year. He wants more eyes on those platforms. Now, this article from The Guardian, I think, reveals it all as well. This came out the other day. So listen to this. The EU warns Elon Musk over disinformation on X about Hamas attack. Listen to this. The EU has issued a warning to Elon Musk over the alleged disinformation about the Hamas attack on Israel, including fake news and repurposed old images on X, which was formerly known as Twitter. The letter arrives less than 2 months after sweeping new laws regulating content on social media seen in the EU came into force under the Digital Services Act. If Musk, the owner of X, does not comply, he can face a fine of 6% of his revenue from X or a total blackout in the EU. So we have to remember these platforms are global. Twitter is a global platform. So think about all the people that you may know that live in Europe. They're basically telling Elon Musk that if he doesn't make these changes, they're going to black out Twitter in Europe. Guys, when I tell you the censorship is crazy, the censorship is crazy. When people were like, don't defend Russell Brand, yada, yada, my response was, we don't know if Russell Brand is guilty or not. But look at how they're already trying to silence him on the YouTube platform. So that was just the beginning. And look at where we are now. Could you guys imagine that? I don't know how many of you watching live in Europe, but I know some of you do based on my analytics. But imagine that. You know, activists organize on Twitter. So there goes a platform for effective organizing. Let's continue. Breton, the commissioner responsible for the act, wrote to Musk to urge him to ensure a prompt, accurate, and complete response to the request to contact Europol, the EU police enforcement agency, and relevant law enforcement agencies within the next 24 hours. Breton reminded Musk that he needs to have proportionate and effective mitigation measures to tackle the risk to public security and civic discourse stemming from disinformation. And here's the letter here. European Commission, that's Breton up there. Dear Mr. Musk, following the terrorist attacks carried out by Hamas against Israel, we have indications that your platform is being used to disseminate, I can't talk tonight. I'm sorry, guys. Disseminate illegal content and disinformation in the EU. Let me remind you that the Digital Services Act sets very precise obligations regarding content moderation. First, you need to be very transparent and clear on what content is permitted under your terms and consistently and diligently enforce your own policies. Let me stop there for just a second. Twitter already has that. Twitter has Twitter guidelines, just like YouTube has community guidelines. And Twitter guidelines tell you what's allowed and what's not allowed on the platform. Second, when you receive notices of illegal content in the EU, you must be timely, diligent, and objective in taking action and removing the relevant content when warranted. We have, from qualified sources, reports about potentially illegal content circulating on your service despite flags from relevant authorities. And third, you need to have in place proportionate and effective mitigation measures to tackle the risk to public security and civic discourse stemming from disinformation. Public media and civil society organizations widely report instances of fake and manipulated images and facts circulating on your platform in the EU, such as repurposed old images of unrelated armed conflicts or military footage that actually originated from video games. This appears to be manifestly false or misleading information. I therefore invite you to urgently ensure that your systems are effective and report on the crisis measures taken to my team. Given the urgency, I also expect you to be in contact with the relevant law enforcement authorities in Europol and ensure that you respond promptly to their requests. Moreover, on a number of other issues, DSA compliance that deserves immediate attention, my team will follow up shortly with a specific request. I urge you to ensure a prompt, accurate, and complete response to this request within the next 24 hours. So they gave him 24 hours. Now, it goes on to say here, there are concerns in Brussels that Twitter is not responding within 24 hours to complaints about disinformation or other illegal content such as hate speech within the required time. So apparently they have a limit to when he's supposed to do that. Let me scroll down here because that's just repeating the letter. And it says here, X came under scrutiny in the past few days after concerns were raised about fake posts and Elon Musk's recommendation of war coverage from accounts that have made false claims or anti-Semitic comments. So, look at what's happening, guys. I'm not here to say that there isn't information floating around on Twitter that may not be true. I'm not here to say that does not happen. But I think we all know what this is really about. This is about the conflict with Israel and Palestine. This is about those videos circulating around, not the videos circulating that are showing the Israeli casualties, but the videos and the photos showing the Palestinian casualties. That's what this is about. Now, luckily, mainstream media has also, in some ways, talked about both. But if we want to talk about disinformation, who are they really going to hold accountable? Are they going to hold all the mainstream networks accountable that spread the lie the other day about beheaded babies, which, by the way, the Israeli press came forward and said there's no confirmation of that? Joe Biden said he saw evidence of that. The White House had to come back and retract what Joe Biden said and say there's no evidence of that. So are they going to hold CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and the White House? Are they going to hold them accountable for the information, the disinformation that they spread the other day? No. It doesn't apply to everybody. It only applies to the people that are not a part of these outlets that are approved by the State Department. That's who it applies to, and that's who they will come after. Look at what they did to Garland Nixon. Garland Nixon hosts a radio show. He's not just a channel on YouTube. But it's not the approved outlet that the State Department likes. So here we go. This is just the beginning. And as I said before, Elon was already censoring people anyway and suppressing people anyway. But this is just the beginning. We have the rest of October. We have November. We have December. Come January, shit's going to hit the fan. And as we get closer and closer to the election, it's going to get worse. The censorship will be ramped up. So get ready. I'll take that comment on Rockfin, Eric. All right. Thank you for the tip on Rockfin, Roger. This is what I was reading to you on call-in. The law Gavin signed could help Cali obtain a waiver that allocate federal Medicaid/Medicare funds to be used for what could eventually become a single-payer system that cover every Cali residence and be financed entirely by state and federal funds. Thank you so much for that, Roger. To me, it's just, I think I really want us to pay attention to what's happening because like I said, Eric, can you pull up Twitter really quick on the tight VNC? I got to go to something really quick because like I said, like this is, there really a free speech platform? Because I'll tell you another thing. People say that Rumble is all free speech. No, it's not. There have been people who have been censored and had content removed on Rumble as well. I've only heard about one instance where that's happened with Rockfin. But we need to get ready. Now, I want to show you. Oh, we'll go to that. I'll go to that in a second. Let me go ahead and bring up the comments and then I'll go to the other thing. Thank you so much, Left Less. DMT Shrooms. Mescaline, great way to laugh sorrow away. I don't even know what that's all about, but it sounds like you're having a good time. Shout out to Helpful Harm. RBN said X is blocking pro-Palestinian Palestine tweets. I haven't seen that yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if they are. I've been able to see like some videos and other things coming out. Like I saw the one from Black Lives Matter that was pro-Palestine and stuff like that too. So, but maybe they started that today. I don't know. Rick says, yeah, they're hitting Instagram too. Well, Instagram, remember, is owned by Mark Zuckerberg, right? So Instagram and Facebook, that's all one thing. So he owns that too. JB says, so basically, if people speak out against Zionism on Twitter, the EU will attack the revenue stream of Twitter. Now, some people on Twitter have these accounts where they have a subscribe button. So if you subscribe to their account, then they get paid, I guess, like some type of monetization, like if you read their tweets or like their tweets, that kind of thing. I don't have that on my page. I just don't have time for it, to be honest. But I wonder about those accounts too. Would they take that button away from those accounts? Thank you, Old Crow. Just showing some love the content. Oh, just showing some love the content. Thank you. Thank you, Old Crow.